I think it's kind of everywhere now. It's very interesting because, as I said, it's not necessarily a new thing, but it's certainly something that is for some reason resonating. And so I've thought a little bit about this quite a lot, actually. And I reckon there are probably maybe two factors at play. And I really hope, by the way, that this is a renaissance in the sense of like it's something that shows up and stays and actually impacts how we think and talk about learning experiences broadly conceived, but also online learning. I really hope it changes what we do and how we teach online rather than it just being a kind of a fleeting thing. But I think it will for two reasons. The first is quite an economic argument, I suppose. But basically, I've spoken a lot to marketing type people, and the thing I keep hearing back is that consumers will pay they will demand what is scarce and what is valuable. And I think at the moment we're living in a world where content is commoditized. So right now, any of us can get on Google, type in what we want to find out, and we'll find some great quality information that's verified, that's interesting, that answers our question more or less instantly, probably for free. But in this kind of commoditized content world, two things become scarce. So one is community, and I think there is an increased, for lots of interesting political, economic, social reasons, there's a growing appetite, or maybe we're just more aware of the appetite for people to connect meaningfully with one another, so with people like them and with experts in a space of shared interest, to build connection and community and these kind of things. And then the second thing that's scarce in this kind of content commoditized world are opportunities to make real measurable impact on people's capability or skills. So content is great, it answers questions, it gives us information, but it doesn't impact how we behave and what we do. We know that from learning science. So even at the most, this is what's really interesting. So I've been lucky enough to work at some of the most exclusive, expensive education institutions, Cambridge, Harvard, that kind of jazz. Even their hands-on experiences, which drive real, measurable, kind of apply tomorrow's skills, are really hard to come by. And I think this is why cohort-based learning offers something really different, unique, scarce, and valuable. And I think we're in a world now where actually we're starting to feel for the first time the effects of the need to kind of reskill and upskill more rapidly and more frequently. And so I would predict that in this world, cohort-based learning, which is all about connecting with people but also developing real skills very rapidly, will only become more relevant and valuable and therefore prevalent, which makes this question around how we scale it all the more important. And then just as a sideline, if I may, I also like to think that cohort-based learning and teaching as an experience is rising in popularity just because it is a more effective way of teaching and learning. As I mentioned before, it's not entirely new, but whether it's intentional or not, these cohort-based learning experiences that the world is seeing more and more are just more effective because they offer quite a potent mix of learning science. So by that I mean, by designing and delivering a cohort-based course, we actually deliver a number of strategies which are proven by years of research to drive student motivation and mastery and that kind of thing. So I'm talking here about the two biggest, most obvious ones are active learning and peer-to-peer collaboration and co-creation. Strategies like these are proven to increase attraction, retention, motivation, and achievement when compared with these kind of MOOC style or lecture style approaches. So I think it's partly about scarcity and value, and it is also about a realization that actually teaching and learning requires an amount of connection and action rather than just transmission of information.